kind of what is the mindset coming from you to navigate, the waters that we're in and the waters ahead?
So that moniker is very personal to me, and I think it's because of when First of all, I attribute a good portion of my journey to luck. I think anyone who doesn't, luck, grace, whatever word you want to use, the universe, uh, because so much of what we experience you can't control. But I do prescribe to the theory that life is 10% what happens and 90% how you choose to react to it. And the financial crisis was kind of that grow up moment for me. So yesterday I recorded a masterclass on the disc profile that we're going to share with everybody, and that was my disc changed dramatically during the financial crisis. I was probably like a 50D, 99I, pretty low S&C, and by the end of the financial crisis, my D was a 99. And it's I really like to understand how the brain works and how personalities work, and most of the time when you have a significant shift in your personality, it's typically when you're younger, and it's typically based to some traumatic event. And for those of us who lived through the financial crisis in real estate, it was kind of like, do I still want to be a market participant or not? And that's like that was my best part of my career. I went from a solo agent to the number one team in the world for the number one company in the world at the time. So like my neurons were formed in chaos is one way of thinking about it. And, the complexity of what we were dealing with, like banks would disappear, right? Like IndyMac went away over a weekend, and I had 58 listings with IndyMac, and the federal government through the FDIC called and told me they were taking all my business away. And then I got on a plane and showed up to their office and said, no, you're not. And then they awarded me 3 states because I was so convincing. But it was those moments that kind of showed me that most of the time in life, all you got to do is show up and say, I'm here, and just make decisions, right? Like my favorite Tony Soprano quote is, indecision is the worst decision. And most of the time in moments of confusion, people just want someone to lead. And being completely transparent and okay with saying, like, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to get it right. And that's perfectly cool. And if I get it wrong, just tell me and I'll take feedback and we'll adjust quickly. But the amount of people I see in business and in life just kind of paralysis by analysis is, that's where I think the problem arises. And in moments like this, where there's uncertainty and confusion and kind of not sure where to move forward, all that gets amplified. So I do think I'm a wartime general, and I think it's because I became a business person through a chaotic moment, and so that's how my brain got wired. But the exciting advantage I see for that is it's statistically it's like 7 or 8 times easier to become a millionaire or a business to thrive during chaos, right? Like when rates are 2.85 and anyone and everyone can fog a mirror and do a deal, the level of effort, the level of professionalism isn't necessary like it is now, right? And with the shift in NAR, I think we're really, really going into a skills-based, professional-based business, which will hopefully level up everybody, right? So, there's a good portion of agents who were stuck on the buy side of the transaction because they didn't have the confidence and to have the ask, right? I think the agents that stay on buy side and don't go into the listing appointment, it's not skills based or knowledge based. They're super capable. It's walking in there and say, you are going to pay me X and I'm going to deliver Y, and I'm better than the 3 other people you're interviewing. And that takes a level of self-confidence and competence in articulating how you're going to do that. And so the folks who are going to get it are going to get it, and the ones that aren't. Because I believe now every buyer's agent is a listing agent, right? You have to show up to a competitive situation. You have to articulate your value with a presentation. You have to ask for compensation. And I'm witnessing at scale kind of a tale of 2 cities. There's folks in the camp that say, all right, I didn't ask for this, but I still want to sell homes. So this is the entrance fee to be a market participant. And then there are the folks who literally bring up, there's like, well, NAR dropped the ball and this isn't fair and we didn't do anything wrong. I'm like, I agree with you, but that doesn't change the fact that the rules of engagement are different. And if you want to minimize liability for yourself and your consumers and guide them through a very confusing, expensive, highly emotional transaction, these are the new rules to play with. And so here we are, but as kind of confusing and troubling everything has been for a couple months, going back to March, I actually think this is going there. In any conflict or confusion, there are winners and losers, and I firmly believe we're going to be a disproportionate winner of what comes out of this.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it reminds me of a little saying I always love is like, it's who you have to become. Like that's what in order to be successful, it's who do you have to become. And right now, I see it in conversations every day I'm having with people. People are deciding, I'm not willing to do that, or I'm willing to do that.